Every tumor faces the same crisis. At roughly 2 millimeters in diameter, the cells in the center can no longer get enough oxygen. They are too far from the nearest capillary. Diffusion cannot reach them. They begin to suffocate. This is where most tumors stop. Biologists call these microtumors dormant lesions, tiny clumps of cancer cells that exist in almost every human body but never cause disease. Autopsy studies of people who died in car accidents find that nearly every adult over 40 has dozens of these microtumors. They are everywhere, and they are stuck. They cannot grow beyond 2 millimeters because they cannot access the blood supply. Then occasionally, one of them solves the problem. It stops waiting for blood vessels to arrive. It builds its own. The tumor releases signaling proteins: vascular endothelial growth factor, fibroblast growth factor, angiopoietin. These proteins reach the surrounding tissue and hijack the body's normal blood vessel construction machinery. Nearby capillaries begin to sprout. They grow toward the tumor. They tunnel through the surrounding tissue. Within weeks, the tumor has its own dedicated blood supply. Now oxygen arrives, nutrients arrive, waste products leave. The diffusion limit is gone. The tumor grows from 2 millimeters to 2 centimeters to 20 centimeters. It was not a size problem. It was an infrastructure problem. And the moment the tumor built its own infrastructure, growth became unlimited. This is angiogenesis. And the mathematics of this transition is the most important lesson cancer biology teaches about business. Because the same pattern appears everywhere in economics. Think about the history of successful companies. Amazon did not start by building its own logistics network. For years, it shipped through UPS and FedEx. The company grew, but growth was constrained. Every package depended on infrastructure that Amazon did not control. Then around 2013, Amazon began building its own delivery network. Amazon-branded trucks, regional fulfillment centers, last-mile delivery partners working exclusively for Amazon. Amazon Air cargo planes. Within 10 years, Amazon had built the largest private logistics network in the world, and its growth rate accelerated. The company was not constrained anymore. It had built its own blood supply. Tesla did the same thing with charging infrastructure. Early electric vehicle companies depended on existing charging networks controlled by others. Tesla built superchargers. Apple did it with payment rails. They could have continued to route every transaction through Visa and MasterCard. Instead, they built Apple Pay and the Apple Card. Stripe did it with payment processing infrastructure. Shopify did it with fulfillment networks. Every category-defining company has the same mathematical signature. There is a phase of constrained growth where the company depends on external infrastructure. Then there is a transition. The company starts building its own infrastructure. And after that transition, growth rate accelerates by a factor of 5 or 10. This is corporate angiogenesis. And the mathematics is identical to tumor angiogenesis. Both systems face the same fundamental problem. Growth is limited by the rate at which resources can reach the cells or the customers. When growth outpaces the existing distribution infrastructure, the system stalls. Either the system figures out how to build its own infrastructure, or it remains dormant at its current size forever. Now here is the investment implication. When you analyze a company, you are really analyzing two variables. What is its current growth rate? And does it have the capacity to build its own infrastructure? Most investors focus only on the first variable. They look at revenue growth, customer growth, market share. But the more important question is the second one. Because a company growing at 80% annually that is dependent on external infrastructure will eventually hit the diffusion limit. Its growth will stall. It will become a dormant microtumor in the language of cancer biology. A company growing at 40% annually that is actively building its own distribution, payment rails, fulfillment, or data infrastructure has the mathematical potential to trigger angiogenesis. When that transition happens, its growth rate will accelerate dramatically and its valuation will multiply by an order of magnitude. You are not looking for speed. You are looking for infrastructure building capacity. This is why capital-light businesses often underperform capital-intensive ones over the long term, contrary to the common investment belief. Capital-light businesses remain dependent on external infrastructure forever. They never trigger angiogenesis. Capital-intensive businesses that successfully build their own infrastructure become category leaders. They control their own growth substrate. How do you identify companies capable of angiogenesis before it happens? Cancer biology tells you exactly what to look for. The signaling molecules. In tumors, angiogenesis begins when the cells start producing vascular growth factors. These signaling proteins are visible in biopsy samples years before the tumor successfully builds its blood supply. In companies, the equivalent signals are visible in capital allocation patterns. Look for companies that are investing in infrastructure that competitors are buying from third parties. Look for companies that are vertically integrating into the layer below them. Look for companies that are hiring engineers for distribution systems rather than only for product development. Look for companies that are filing patents on infrastructure components. These are the molecular signals of corporate angiogenesis. They appear before the growth acceleration. They appear before the stock price re-rates. They appear in the capital expenditure reports and the engineering job postings and the acquisition targets. Most investors ignore them because these signals look like cost centers. They look like money being spent on boring infrastructure instead of flashy product launches. But these signals are the mathematical precursors of tenfold expansions. Now here is the contrarian insight. Angiogenesis is also how you identify which tumors will kill the patient. Most cancers never become dangerous. Only the cancers that successfully build their own blood supply metastasize and cause mortality. The same asymmetry exists in investing. Most companies never become dangerous to their industries. Only the companies that successfully build their own infrastructure dominate their categories. The mathematical signature is what distinguishes the dormant majority from the transformative minority. In both biology and business, infrastructure building is the phase transition that separates dormant systems from unlimited growth. This is the bio-flywheel insight applied to company analysis. Not revenue, not margins, not market share. Infrastructure autonomy. The companies that control their own growth substrate are the ones that escape the diffusion limit. If you want to apply this framework to your own portfolio, the Market Geometry Workbook includes a capital allocation scorer in the companion Excel file. It tracks infrastructure investment as a percentage of revenue and flags companies showing angiogenic capital patterns. Download it using the link below. And if you are watching this series for the first time, start from Video 1. Video 1. Why therapies fail. Video 2. The math of market crashes. Video 3. The Fiedler value. Video 4. Cancer, Biology and market structure. Video 5. Adaptive therapy. Video 6. The mathematics of dormancy. Video 7. The Warburg effect. Video 8. This video. Angiogenesis. In the next video, we explore metastasis. Why do some cancers stay localized for decades while others spread rapidly through the body? Why do some business models expand across industries and geographies while others remain stuck in their origin market? The mathematics of dissemination explains both. Subscribe so you do not miss it. This is advanced mathematics for everyone.